Would you like a 2022 update on mental health awareness? Well, this is the video about mental health awareness in 2022. So go ahead and watch it to find out what exactly is going on with the mental health of the world. Hi, my name is Jesse. Welcome to the channel Open Source Owners, where we talk about what if humans had an owner's manual. Okay, brief overview of the state of mental health in 2022. Let's start with depression. It is the #1 cause of disability and injury in the entire world, affecting roughly 350 million people every year. That number, unfortunately, is on the rise, and depression used to not hold the #1 place as far back as 2020. So it's a relatively new position for depression, and it speaks to the fact that depression is, unfortunately, on the rise. Anxiety is the #1 mental health diagnosis in the United States of America, affecting roughly 20% of the population on a year-to-year basis. And worldwide, more than 1 billion people are affected by mental health disorders. And of those 1 billion people, 75% of them do not receive any form of treatment whatsoever. So that's a broad overview of the state of mental health in 2022. But let's get into some specifics about, particularly around the pandemic that we've all just went through. According to one study, which I'll link to in a moment from the CDC, in 2020, the mental health rates in the United States of America nearly doubled since pre-pandemic times. So the doubling looks like this. 31% reported symptoms of depression and anxiety. So the pre-pandemic rate would be roughly around 15-16%. 13% reported increased use in substances. So again, nearly double what it used to be pre-pandemic. 26% of those interviewed reported increased stress-related symptoms, and 11% reported increased suicidal thoughts. And that is according to this study here, which of course you can look into a little bit more. Obviously, there's been a bunch of studies about mental health and suicide rates and that type of thing throughout the pandemic, including now in 2022. So go ahead and do your own research. There's a lot to this story, but the general trend seems to be a near doubling of serious mental health disorders. And let's review this Israeli study from teenagers in particularly, and this came out this year, 2022. The study was done over 2021, I believe. They saw a 55% rise in eating disorders amongst teens, a 38% rise in depression, a 33% rise in anxiety, a 28% rise in the prescription of antipsychotic medications. And check this one out. This is the one that I really wanted to highlight on. A 93% wait time in order for these struggling teens with mental health issues, serious mental health issues, before they could even get treatment, right? So most teens are waiting in Israel, and I don't know how well this maps onto the rest of the world, an average of a month and a half to get treatment. 45% of the people in the study reported waiting over a month to get treatment. And this is not atypical working in the American medical system either. It takes time to get good quality treatment. But I do wonder what it says about mental health in Israel, in the United States of America, and beyond, when we have mental health rates nearly doubling across the board, but we also have wait times nearly doubling. What does that mean for the mental health of the world? How are those people all going to get treatment? Especially when we know that 75% of the people who suffer with mental health struggles do not receive treatment worldwide, right? So this is kind of an issue. If you'd like to know more about this particular study, the Israeli data set, you can check out this article here, which links to the original study. So the fact that 75% of 1 billion people, so 750 million people, are not getting treatment for their mental health disorders or struggles, and that number is on the rise, and wait times are increased, it makes me wonder as a mental health professional, I wonder if we can actually help people through things like YouTube and email and basic mentorship. Could we create a system that could be a very low cost, very accessible form of mentorship for mental health? And that's what I've created. We'll see how it ends up evolving over time, but this is what we have so far. So if you need a little bit of support, if you know anybody who needs a little bit of support for depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, or any form of mental struggles, well, then check this out. I call this mentorship process the HOME program, or your mental health roadmap, sort of. I call it the Holistic Owner's Manual, so HOME, okay? It's holistic because it takes into apart 4 particular domains, which most mental health services do not focus on these 4 domains distinctly. So that's what makes it holistic. And it's an owner's manual of sort because it's just, I try to deliver you the best ideas that I know in the mental health world. And of course, I'm open to your feedback, and then I'll try to solve those particular questions that you have within the program. So here's what makes it holistic. We focus on the biological domain, like literal neurotransmitters, your diet, your light exposure, your sleep quality, your energy qualities, your microbiome. Okay, the gut-brain interaction is a very real thing, and it's really important to mental health. But we don't just stop there. We focus on the spiritual domain. Do you have meaning? Do you have purpose? Are you connected to a higher power? Are you spending time in nature? Are you going within yourself and learning sort of the lessons, the spiritual lessons, if you will, of depression, anxiety, and mental struggles? If you're feeling suicidal, there is a spiritual component. And by spiritual, I just mean your own personal development. Taking the garbage, the difficulty, the struggles that you've had, and turning them into something beautiful and that aligns with your gifts, your natural gifts that you were born with. That's kind of what I mean by spiritual. It doesn't have to do with religion necessarily, but it can for you. But if you're atheist or agnostic, it doesn't have to do that at all. It doesn't have to touch into religion. It's more about personal growth and understanding something at a deeper level than what our society often gives to us. Then we focus on the social domain. Who are you connected to? What are the habits that they're demonstrating? Are you connected with any groups that are elevating your wellness and your mental health disorder? This program would be an example of a social upgrade. Connecting to a tribe that's focused on mental health, connecting to a mentor that's focused on your best mental health. And then lastly, we focus on the psychological domain. This is the sort of common thing that most people think about when they think about mental health and mental struggles, which is, trauma, abuse, neglect, coping skills, how you think, how you relate to feelings, your relationship with your parents. All these things fall under the psychological domain. And we spend about 3 months on all 4 of these in a cycle. And we just keep going through it. And it's mostly done through emails where I'll send out content. I'll set up some basic goals that you can take or leave, but just to give some structure to what we're trying to achieve with our mental health and how we're trying to boost our mental health and ultimately free ourselves from the prison of depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, feeling unwanted, feeling stuck. And then every month we will have a group coaching call where you get to ask me directly questions if you want. You also get to share your successes with the group or your struggles. And we try to address things in real time. And that is done once a month. And it only costs $7 a month because I wanted to make it super affordable, super low barrier of entry for anybody who might be struggling. 2 cups of coffee a month is sort of how I think about it. So can you afford 2 cups of coffee a month? If you can, then this program would be accessible to you. You can, of course, cancel anytime, or you can keep it going for years. It's up to you. It's up to whether you're getting something out of it or not. All right, so that's the home model. If you're interested, go ahead and find a link below, and you can click on that. You can check it out. You can subscribe if you want, or you can learn more about it on our website. That was 2022 Mental Health Awareness video. Hopefully that was a little bit eye-opening for you. I don't want to be a downer. Because when you're looking at this type of information, it of course can be a bummer. It is a bummer to think about that many hundreds of millions of people suffering, maybe silently, maybe to themselves with mental health struggles, especially when we know that if they were given proper mentorship, proper treatment, proper guidance, they don't have to suffer forever and ever and ever without seeing the cessation, without seeing a resolution of their depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. It is possible, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that in mind. If you are suffering at all with your mental health, please go ahead and comment below. We would want to hear from you. Don't suffer alone. Reach out. There are communities that you can connect with that can help with this. Not just ours, but there are places out there, and you are not alone. If you're suicidal, please do look below this video where the suicidal hotline number is, just in case you're watching this video and you're right there at that sort of edge. Well, then please, whatever you do, go ahead and make sure that you reach out. That's one of the most critical things you can do, and you never know what's going to be on the other side of reaching out. On that note, thank you guys so much for watching. I want you to have a good day despite this news. I want you to do something that transforms the energy of all this suffering that we just talked about in your daily life. This sort of thing matters. So what can you do today that's something positive for you? Maybe it's spending time with your dog or spending time in nature, doing some relaxation, taking a bath, whatever it is. Try to do something to almost like spiritually cast a spell of goodness onto the world. That's what we want to try to do, especially when we know there's this much suffering. On that note, thank you so much for watching. Hope to talk to you soon. We'll see you in the next video.